evening. Jim and I are really excited to be offering our secrets of retirement income planning and giving you some tips on making retirement more stress-free. So my name is Susan Pomfret. I head up the HECM division here at Cross Country Mortgage, and my role is pretty much talking about housing wealth. Jim, why don't you give us a few words?
Thanks, Susan. I appreciate that. As Susan said, we're kicking off this podcast, which will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 12 minutes, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I would probably say that the way Susan and I can talk, it's probably going to be a little bit more, if anything. But as she said, my name is Jim Dobler. I am the Vice President of Sales for a firm called BMI. And what I've been doing for the last, probably about 10 years, I've been in the business for over 25 as a financial advisor, insurance agent, the president of an insurance agency. I've run a sales desk, but for the last 10 years, I've been training financial advisors and insurance agents how to do retirement income planning. That could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and that's what our goal is today, just to maybe give you a point or two, some sort of education that you can take away. If we do that, then we've accomplished our goal. So, Susan, I've already taken up enough time as it is. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Cross Country?
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So as most people know, reverse mortgages, there's also a product called home equity conversion mortgages, which is a HECM. So Cross Country Mortgage offers these products. They're available to those 60 and 62 and older. And it's a product that allows them to tap into a portion of their equity. So as Jim has his RICP designation, we learn a lot about how to incorporate housing wealth in your retirement plan. So we're living longer, we haven't saved enough, and there's all different things that we can do, but you have to have a plan. And Jim, as you always say, it's got to be comprehensive, right? So we want to make sure that we give you the tools that you need and the tips that you need to make sure you have a great plan in place. A lot of times we see people worry so much about accumulation, but they don't really realize how long they're going to live. It's hard to determine that, right? Typically, we try to say a 30-year retirement plan, but when you run out of money, what happens? And right now with the markets, they're getting better, but when a market is down, you don't want to touch into your retirement investments because then you're going to run out of money a lot sooner. So how about looking at housing wealth? When the market's down, utilizing housing wealth will preserve your retirement investments, therefore making sure that you have enough money throughout retirement. Jim, you speak a lot about products and different things, you know, annuities and stuff like that. Maybe the viewers would like to hear a little bit more about that in addition to how, you know, like I said, I kind of concentrate on the housing wealth part.
Absolutely. And Susan, I think you hit on a really important point, that retirement planning, it needs to be comprehensive. It's not just when you were working and you were at the accumulation part of your lifestyle and that you were just saving money. If the market goes down, big deal. I'm still going to work for another 10 or 20 years. So when you get to the point, regardless of the age, whether it's 50, 65, or 75, and you decide that you want to retire either full-time or maybe part-time, what normally happens is that you have this, let's just call it a wad of money. And you have a whole bunch of money that you need to figure out what to do with. Some advisors will tell you, hey, let's just put it in a balanced mutual fund of stocks and bonds and take out 4% and keep our fingers crossed so we don't run out of money. That is the old antiquated way of doing it. Once the accumulation part, that's fine. When you're retiring and the decumulation part, there's a lot more to it, because if you make a wrong decision, there's no coming back from it. So what you need to do is take a look at the different risks that are associated with retirement. And as Susan said, there's a lot of them out there. Some are major risks, some are minor risks. It really depends on the client. As I say, whenever I give a speech or some sort of workshop to a client or an advisor or an insurance agent, I say every financial product out there is both fantastic and horrible. It just depends on the client. And I truly believe that. So over the next foreseeable future, when we do these podcasts, we're going to look at the different risks that are associated with retirement. You have inflation risk, market or sequence of return risk. You have the big one called longevity risk or living too long. So we're going to look at each one of those separately and how you could either mitigate or lessen those risks. And that's the key, is how you can take those risks off the table to retire sort of happier. So Susan, is that a pretty good, just looking at it from a high level of what we're looking to accomplish over the foreseeable future with these podcasts?
Absolutely. And as you and I know, Jim, in our times that we've been speaking and preparing for these, as we start talking about different things, we come up with many other things because there's so much that goes into it. So we're just hoping to every other week give you some tips and some information to make sure you're thinking about certain things, because it is a lot to think about. And you definitely have to have that financial planner that you can trust and that's going to help guide you. But so we're just trying to help not only the financial planners with looking at retirement income planning, because a lot don't. I mean, Jim, you and I have that designation, but many do not. And it's a really important aspect of planning. And then, of course, direct to the consumer. If you don't have a financial planner, then, reach out to us. We'll be happy to steer you in the right direction. But then hopefully these tips and our podcasts every other week will give you things to think about and things to talk about to your financial planner. So we're just trying to open up, what do? We got to plan for retirement, right? We're living longer and, a lot of people don't want to work. And right now, a lot of people are out of work. So they may be tapping into their retirement investments. So, we talk about, Jim, deferring Social Security. We know if you wait till age 70, you're going to get a lot more money than anytime earlier. So how can you offset that deferral process? Let's say it's 3 years or 5 years. How about housing wealth? Instead of taking your Social Security at 70, tap into a HECM or reverse mortgage through that time period for what you would have gotten. And it's really like win-win. You're still getting what you need, but you're deferring Social Security to get the max amount at age 70. And Jim and I, when we did the RICP designation program, I mean, I will attest that it was pretty difficult. It was out of my comfort zone, but I'm very, very happy that I did it. But Jim, as you know, they were all over the place with all different things that that clients need to consider and think about, as do financial planners, and make sure that they're giving all of the options and information that is available to their clients. So maybe you want to kind of elaborate a little bit on that and what we learned.
Exactly. And I think you touched on it extremely well. I was looking up a stat this morning. I was trying to figure out, because the old way of doing retirement planning was, hey, let's see how much we can give to a client for the next 20 years. And 20 years, that puts a client at 85. And so this morning I looked at, and I have the stat right here, if you're looking at the number of people over 100 in the United States, that number is just over 92,000 people. So think about that for a second. 92,000 people in the US who are over 100. In the next 20 years, it's going to more than double to be just under 200,000 people. So we need to change the way we're thinking. We need to stop thinking about setting up the client for 20 years. We need to look at 30, 35, maybe even longer. And there are products and processes to address that. One of the things also that you touched on, I think is really important, is designations. If you're an advisor or if you're a client, what should you look for from a designation standpoint? And I would say,
Whoop. Are you there with us, Jim? You froze up. Okay, so Jim, try to see if you can unfreeze yourself. In the meantime, I know that we only have a few minutes left.
Oh, you see, we can talk and talk and talk. It's just the way we do things.
Well, no, I kind of froze you because you were talking too much, because you just have a tendency to take over. So I was trying to get back, so that I could be kidding. But just so we can wrap up and go to the questions. But you're right. You have to look at who has designations, and people really when they go for different designations, it's because they truly believe in being that advocate for you, that knowledge person. So you just definitely want to look at designations when you're working with people. So I know we have our famous director in the background here coming to us from Disney. So Lauren, maybe you want to
crack producer.
you want to see if we have any questions that that we can answer?
Yeah, so our first question is, what exactly is housing wealth?
Oh, great question.
You take that.
So when, most people, their biggest asset is their home, right? So they're sitting on all this equity, housing wealth. One of my colleagues, her famous thing is, you get all this housing wealth and that's great, but you can't go to the grocery store and buy anything with it. So how do you take that housing wealth out and utilize it throughout retirement? So that's where a HECM and a reverse mortgage comes in. You can tap into some of that equity to help supplement your income, do home modifications, and the mortgage does not have to be paid back until you either sell the property, move out of the property, or pass away. So there's no mortgage payments like a regular mortgage. You are still responsible for taxes and insurance though, but this is a way of getting that housing wealth out of the house and using it throughout retirement. We say, me and my team say that our goal is that we empower retirees to live a stress-free retirement. So they got all this wealth in their home and that will help them have a stress-free retirement. Great question.
Great. Yeah, so our next question is, would you recommend a fixed annuity or a fixed index annuity for a retiree?
Susan, why don't I take that?
Yes, please do.
I'll tell you what, that's a really good question, but that's a really loaded question. The short answer would be, it depends. It depends on what the client's situation is at that point. So Lauren, how are we doing? I'm assuming we're up against the wall of 12 minutes plus.
Yes, we are. Sorry, I dropped you guys for a few minutes, but I'm back.
All right. Well,
I think we have another question.
Do we have another one?
We do.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Can that annuity be turned back off after turning it on?
Ooh, that's a good question. Again, it depends on the annuity. If you decide that you're going to annuitize the contract, sort of like purchasing what's called an income annuity, where you have a lifetime income for the rest of your life, and in that situation, no, you cannot turn it on. But there are other types of annuities where they have what's called living benefits associated with them, where an income is turned on. You probably do not get as much money compared to if you would annuitize it, because they have a little thing called mortality credits. And again, that would be another conversation for another day. But so it depends on how you set it up, whether or not you can turn off the income anytime you want.
Great questions. And Jim, and our goal here truly is to just give you some information. You have to think about retirement income, right? What are you going to do when you retire? What are you counting on? If you're just counting on Social Security, like most people are, that's going to be really difficult, especially if you take it as soon as you're eligible to take it. So, if we can just give you some information to think about and to discuss with your financial planner, then we've done our job.
Susan, that might be a great topic, whether it's for our next one or one upcoming soon, is Social Security. Should I take it at 62? Should I wait till full retirement at age 66 or 67? Should I wait till 70? And if I do decide to wait, how am I going to afford it? I think that'd be a good time. Let's look to possibly add that soon.
Do that one next, probably, because you think about it too. What happens if you have, a husband and a wife that are on Social Security and one passes away? So now we're down to one Social Security, whichever one was higher. And that's too when housing wealth can come into play, because then you can supplement that loss of one of those Social Security payments with the housing wealth in your home. So, we could probably go on for more than 12 minutes with Social Security. We're going to have to do that in a few parts, right?
But I agree 100%. But you know what, Susan? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's hold that for another day. The key that we're, like you said, we're looking to accomplish is if you're a financial advisor, an insurance agent, or a client who's looking to retire soon, as I tell my two girls, education never takes a vacation. If you can get one little tip out of the 12 plus minutes that we're talking, then it was worth it. And that's what our goal is. Maybe give you one or two little tips that can help you improve your life, or if you're an advisor, your business. So I'm assuming we are way over our 12 minutes. So why don't we, as usual, both of us can speak to great length. So why don't I leave the ending to you, Susan, and I will just say that I really enjoyed the last 12 plus minutes, and hopefully moving forward it'll work out well.
Yes, Jim, thank you. And, you know, I have to throw this in there. Thank you for stalking me on LinkedIn so that we partnered together, and look forward to doing these podcasts in the future, because you know, as we've been talking over the last several months, it's really so much information that we can cover, and anything that we can give back and help educate people, both. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back September 17th. 10 a.m. Eastern. We look forward to it. Jim, thanks. Lauren, thanks for being our director. Enjoy Disney. Sorry that we pulled you away from Minnie and Mickey, but thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Everybody have a great day. Stay well.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.